What's up? It's your boy Reemus, and welcome to the ChampSet podcast, the podcast for champions. What's up? It's your boy Reemus from Reemus Boxing, and listen, I'm the doubt killer, belief filler, the one that's gonna convince you that you're a winner. On these streets, they call me the maker of masters, the crafter of champions, the weaver of wires. Why? Because give me a little time and I'll add ChampSet to your mind. We're a gang, we're an army, we're a squad, we're a group of winners with the most ambitious fighters and athletes. And round there, we do everything we can to get the win because allowing a loss to us is a sin. This is the home for ambition. This is the home for champions in training. This is the ChampSet podcast. And today we're going to be talking about expanding your reality and on such a level that is to do with your perception and mindset out of the ring to help you improve, but also as a means to understanding how to take on people through technique and strategy. So let me go into detail with what I mean. So a lot of people, right, or a lot of fighters, before they face a certain guy who's a tough guy, a big name, what they will say is, oh, he's never faced someone like me. They'll say, well, he's never come across someone like me who can throw the jab this way or the right hand this way or the body punches this way. We've never seen him take this or that. And people actually develop their plans off of that unknown, which from a logical point of view doesn't make any sense, because just because the opponent, you've never seen the opponent in those challenges, doesn't automatically mean they can't come through them. So you see this a lot with the B-side fighters trying to amp themselves up and say, well, you can't doubt me because we've never seen how they deal with this problem. Well, that's true, but you also can't assume that you're going to win because you haven't seen them come through that problem. Because to be honest, they could have the tools to come through it, which is actually the development of a great fighter's career, when he's presented with new problems and we see how he overcomes it, which tells us, oh, maybe he is elite, maybe he is great. But I think that's a problem for fighters to go in with that mindset. You shouldn't go with the assumption that, oh, well, I've never seen him. It's not that he's never faced it, because he could have come up against it in training and in sparring and even maybe amateur matches, or just simply be ready to take that problem on. But I would say you don't want to go in with the mindset, well, I'm going to assume that it would be my way in an arena that another fighter has never experienced, right? Because it's egotistic and it's almost like so self-centered, right? But there is an element of needing to take that from the spiritual side. So not the logical, technical side, strategic side, but from the spiritual side. Yes, I would say it is important to have that mindset of, well, he's never faced anyone like me. You see, I think Tyson said that, a few times in his career, but I don't think I ever heard him say it from a strategic point of view. And he did say it from a point of view, well, I'm an animal. That's how he said it. He said, I'm an animal. I'm going to fight to the finish. I refuse to lose. He's never faced someone with that mentality. So I think the mentality aspect is important. The other side to this, right, which is kind of a big thing that I want you to take from this, is the fact that people almost believe that where they haven't seen anything, there's no existence of it. So this is kind of deep. I'm not going to go too deep into this in the podcast. Again, I say this a lot, but I'm really going to go over some of these concepts in the seminar and the class that I do, that will be available online and in person, right? But people don't believe, right, something is possible or something exists if they haven't seen it, which is just ridiculous, because again, it's self-centered and egotistic. Just because another person, just because you've never seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because the world is much bigger than your personal reality of it, right? So this is important because it also messes up your ability to see your talent and even properly read the opponent's talent, right? Think about it. If you If you don't think that something is possible or exists, then in your reality it's impossible that you're going to allow it to exist. So if you don't think it's possible to make 500 million for one fight, right, which is an astronomical figure, like the biggest amount that's ever been made is 300 million from Mayweather, right? But if you don't think it's possible to do 500 million, then you won't do it, even if it was possible with a tremendous effort. Before a fighter making 300 million in one fight, it wasn't really perceived that it was possible for that to be done. Before, this is a good example actually. This is not in boxing, but it's in athletics. And the first person who broke the 4 minute barrier, I think it was, is in the 15, no, not the 1500. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think it's the 1500 meters run. Before the 4 minute barrier was ever broken, the first time it was broken, I think like 10 people within the next month basically broke the 4 minute barrier. Meaning that because they had it in them, it was in their system, of course, because they done it the month after. But because they mentally didn't believe it was possible, then it actually wasn't possible for them, even though it was possible for them. But when it had been brought to their reality and their perception and their vision that it actually is possible, then they could do it. Like, that's crazy to think about. Or like, for example, when Usain Bolt broke certain records, all of a sudden the other runners are breaking that barrier too. So it's the same thing with fighting. You have to get you also have to like get out of your body, right, and look at things from a very objective unemotional standpoint and perspective, and say, well, what do I want to do, and then just set it based on that, and say, what would you love to do? And even if it is unrealistic, you're more likely to attain it with that mindset as opposed to the other mindset, which is, oh, well, it's never been done, I don't think it's possible. So that's all I'm going to say today. All I'm trying to do is open up your mind, because once it's more receptive to possibilities, not receptive to what it's seeing, because that in itself is limited, but when it's more receptive to the like just saying, oh, well, that could possibly exist. Oh, well, I thought there was a lot of people think there's a limit in that way, but maybe there is potential for some for achievement to be had in that area. As long as you're open to the possibility of it, then it's always going to be at least in your radar on some manner. So that's it from me. We're making champions here. We're crafting champions. No one else is doing this in the game. No one else is doing this in boxing. No one else is even doing this in sports, and even many other areas of life. So just know that you're one of a few, and I want you to stay focused. I want you to get this greatness. ChampSet.